Well, this is Steve Ridgel, and I wanted to give you some helpful hints about making money in the cattle business, about being in the cattle business. Now, if you're already a rancher, then maybe you'll know these things. If you've ever thought about being a rancher, let me tell you three things I have absolutely learned about the cattle business. My dad had cattle and raised cattle, sold cattle. My father-in-law did, and especially with my father-in-law, and he had cattle. I worked with him and helped him a lot and kind of ran some of that. And so, let me tell you the first thing I've learned: the secret is buy low, sell high. Now, you'd think that makes sense, but it's amazing what cattlemen do. We tend to sometimes buy them and we buy high, and then we end up selling low. We get it a little backwards. But let me tell you why that happens. I live out in West Texas. So here's the second thing I've learned besides buy low, sell high is really the way to do it. The second thing I've really learned is don't start your cattle business in the middle of a drought. Now, I'm doing that. We've got a little place south of Abilene. We're about to buy cows and go back in, and we're in the middle of a drought. But let me tell you how it works out in West Texas. And people are going to say nobody does that, but I'm going to tell you this is how we do cattle in West Texas a lot of times. Boy, it gets dry and it gets dry, and you're buying feed and you can't keep your cattle, and you finally say, man, I've got to sell them for anything. You sell all your cattle and you say, I'll never do that again. And then it rains and everything greens up, and you look out there and you say, you know what? I could run cattle on this place. And you buy cattle, and it's great till it doesn't rain, and then it gets dry and you sell your cattle, and it gets green and you buy cattle. Maybe that's kind of tied into the buy low, sell high, or buy high, sell low process. So we're buying our cattle and we're doing it right in the middle of a drought. We are. I don't know. Maybe that's exactly backwards how you'd think to do it. So maybe it'll be a good thing. Maybe it'll work for us. And finally, the key to being in the cattle business, you want to make some money. So I'm going to tell you at the end of your day in the cattle business, I'm going to tell you how to have a little money. Start with a lot. That's kind of a standard joke among ranchers and farmers, at least out here in West Texas. You want to have a little money at the end of the day? Start with a lot. So we don't have a lot, so we're going to see what happens. I'll keep you posted, but that's what I've learned about how to be a success in the cattle business. But you know what? It sure is nice to sit out under the awning, look across your field, and see your cattle. And even nicer when you cut into a steak that's your beef.